morning, good evening, and good afternoon, wherever you are in the world, and welcome to the Infinite Way, where spirituality meets humanity podcast. And get ready to level up your voice, your presence, and your impact, because today's guest is Dr. Gary Wohlman, the presentation doctor who helps speakers and leaders break through what's holding them back and show up powerfully, fully, and unapologetically. Dr. Gary doesn't, I don't know, teach presentation skills. He transforms how you embody your message through the body, the voice, and your authentic presence. He helps you connect, engage, and command the room, whether you're live or online. So he is the author of Get Up, Stand Up for Your Life, and the creator of the dynamic keynote, Transforming Your Message with Body and Voice. So let's dive in and let's welcome Dr. Gary Wohlman. Welcome.
That's just such a wonderful welcome. You say and you articulate it so well, Anelia. Bless you, dear.
Thank you so much for being here and being a part of our show. I'm excited to have you on. And, when we look at presentations, I'm an orator. I love to speak. Oration is storytelling. Oration is your heart sharing to engage people, to see your vision, to feel it, to touch it, to embrace it. And that's what presentations are. They're engaging the audience to bring in a story. So when we look at people, most people aren't actually afraid of speaking if they love the storytell. But what I believe is that they're actually afraid of fully being seen. So with that said, what do you see happening in the body, in the voice, when someone is actually holding themselves back?
What a question. What do I see in the body, the voice, when a person is holding themselves back? It's not so much what I see, it's what I feel. I notice the conversations that are embedded in the flesh. I hear them. I see them like I'm looking at a neon sign. I see the statement that may be similar to what you just said, such as, I'm afraid to be seen. I'm afraid to be heard. From traumatic history that became more familiar than the true essence of a soul. So when I see these negative self-talk, I come in there and exaggerate the ridiculous pattern of self-consciousness by turning it into a Monty Python script. So someone says, I'm afraid to be seen, and they'll say, oh, I'm so afraid to be seen! But it's not really acting at all. When I ask them to exaggerate it, I'm asking to give permission to the trauma that's been embedded in a self-conscious way. So I have method in my madness. So exaggerating, then the opposite. What's the opposite of that? And it's perhaps a tiny little voice. Please listen to me. And it brings up, as I'm just acting, but I'm not acting, the earlier trauma that's been buried in the landscape of our body. So I have people do this a few times, big or smaller, big as smallest, and then the best of both. Talk to me. We're all fermenting here together. So I have the fermenting process of their old patterns, the best of both. Maybe there's something beautifully vulnerable about the one that's pleading for attention. Please listen to me, I have something to say. And perhaps there's something really strong, Leo-like, and fiery and attractive. The best of both may be, I have a message to share with you, and it's going to turn your life inside out all the way through. Hip, hip, hurrah! So I add that little silly. It's not silly. It's a way of recording, encoding the new patterns in a multi-sensorized way. So that's what I see when I'm aware of someone pulling back, afraid to be seen, ready to be heard, and it's that turning around the negative self-talk to something that's multi-sensory, perhaps wild, and they break free. It just takes a moment through using that tool, the double extreme technique. So that's to answer your question in a long-winded way. That's not just how I see it, that's how I transform it with permission.
Well, let's that a little bit, because when we talk about trauma, and when we talk about the fact that a person has encountered something that doesn't allow them to speak, there are a handful of things that impact us. Denied the right to be seen, denied the right to be heard, denied the right to be loved. I mean, those things are fundamental to our traumas, no matter how we engage that trauma. So how do you unpack that for someone to help them look into the mirror and really understand that?
Yeah. I ritualize with that person the torment, the trauma, and again, turn it into a creative ritual. So there's a feeling of a perspective. So a good example is, let's say, I, you, we, any one of us is holding a trauma, a pain, or a false way of coming out in the world, playing it small because I didn't want to have my mom or dad or someone that was important to me's view be altered. The truth is, by taking a stand to that and absolutely say something like this, I take this pain, like I'm wadding up an ugly ball. I take this false persona of playing it small. This is a ritual, but it's not a game. Watch it. And I wad it up into an ugly ball, and I send it back to the source with full intention, with full sincerity, combining body, voice, and intention. I send it back to where it came, really meaning that. And then heels of the hands into the air, heels of the feet into the ground, and declaring out loud, I have just sent my attachment to the old pattern of holding on to that familiar wounding, playing it small, somewhere else to play. Today for me is a new day. And then the important part, hip, hip!
Hooray!
Hooray! With full sound and body and intention all aligned. So that is the process that I do. And then the next part is my new self-talk is, it's safe for me to be seen. I love being seen. I love being heard. It's safe for me to share my wisdom and message and truth with you. Hip, hip, hurroo! Bringing the hurrah. Life is what we theme. So I play with people in this wild way, as I'm doing with you right now, that transports people's worst fears into something just delicious and delightful and divine, all at once. Yes.
Here's what I'm seeing and hearing from you, is that you take the projection of that trauma that others have had, and you basically reflect it back out, away from the individual, that you connect them with source in between, that you connect them with source, and you actually remind them the power of words that really take...
Yeah, it's the power of words like swords, sizzling soulfully through. I like Michelangelo's statement. He was known of marble, but also poet and sculptor, and he was known angel in that marble. And I chiseled away everything unlike that angel and set it free. So the way that I assist fellow souls to free that's buried in the landscape of our bodies is to give permission through these rituals, through highly outrageously fun exercises to free the darkness in a way that feels like it's a game. And yes, just like you said, it is then a perspective between where the person was hurting, and they can say goodbye to it. But that's not enough. Then they have to fill that void with something that then can be multi-sensorized. My new self-talk is, I love being seen, I love being seen. And to say it, to sing it, to do it in as many senses as possible, then it encodes instantly and memorably and sustainably in the cellular memory. Am I making sense?
Yes, because I can tell that your work focuses on the embodiment and not so to this, what's the biggest shift a speaker can make to instantly increase their presence or impact, whether on stage or on Zoom or otherwise?
The biggest shift a speaker can make is to practice the summation of the following exercise. You who are listening, you who are watching, you are experiencing this right now, here's one of my favorite exercises. It's very powerful, it's very simple. Select 3 key words that match your essence before you go on stage. So for me, I'm going to also do it with a matching gesture. So that's what this exercise is about. It's matching voice, the verbal, the vocal, and the visual all together as one. So watch. I am creative. And there I am showing that with the physical gesture. I am playful. Woo! It's always different. It's always the first time. And I am transformational. So those are 3 key gestures that I encourage, whatever your gestures that match your 3 keywords, and to say it, to sing it. I am creative. I am playful. I am transformational. It's part acting, but it's not. It's encoding the new self-talk into the muscle memory. Doing it in gibberish. I have a lot of fun. I spent a lot of time as a court jester. So I have people in 12 different ways encode this. You who are listening, a speaker, these are the 12 ways. I, you, she or he, depending on your gender or whatever you want to call it. That's right, and be creative. We, the royal gestures. And then shout, whisper, mouth with no sound, mime with no movement of the mouth, sing 3 different times, strongest and softest, most deep and sincere, connecting to the inner core, and then writing it down. I am creative, and notice where there's hesitation as you're saying the words out loud. I am playful, no hesitation there, and I am transformational. Boom. And so that is part of the exercise, so you can see it, practice it. And then when you go on stage, it might just be 3 gestures. It might be before you even work, and that, it takes 1 second, right? Gets you into the zone. So that's the exercise. Whether it gets you into the zone, I don't care if it's my exercise, but that's a very simple one. 3 words, 3 gestures, and then minimize it to what is it that speaks to you? Is it the words, the sounds, the gestures? You do it, and there you are. That will bring you to resource state on stage, and you'll be in your essential presence. Present to all.
Love the way that you present. It's very freeing. It's very playful. It engages the heart. It really gets down to the core and passes through all of the pretenses that we might have, even in learning. So you have to tell us, how did you get here? You just mentioned court jester. Tell us a little bit about your story, about how you arrived at being this presentation doctor, this beautiful person that is able to engage and share with others, on this journey to speaking and being that orator.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Yes, I'm going to answer that question in a slightly different way than you'd expect. So excuse me a moment. I was actually just going out to answer your question by changing my outfit. So here we go. Now I feel more a little more formal, but I'm going to answer your question. How did I get here from there? That was kind of your question, right? How did I get here from there? Right. Well, the first thing that came to mind when you were asking me that question was tell her that your life, Gary, Sherrod, Elijah, Jem, I have so many names and nicknames, has been a series of one-way doors. And I've learned from the beginning being with a great prowess with the body, springboard diver, champion springboard diver, gymnast, track star, and then the court jester. How did that come? You're asking, how in the world did that go? Okay. When I moved to San Francisco, and I was 20, around 20, it was the beginning of the human potential movement. And I moved from New York. I didn't get in medical school, so I was wondering what to do with my life. I didn't know I was going to be a doctor of a very different sort. And out came, when I was receiving all of these deep tissue, body therapy, emotional release work, out came all of this release of emotion and creativity. So many paintings, so many poems, so many plays, so many songs. I didn't realize this was buried inside me. And I realized, now looking back on that time in my life, that...
Time out. People have to know that you came from a more formal education, because this transition is very important.
Yeah, okay. Okay, I'll share that. I came from a formal education, a background, Russian, Jewish. My parents wanted the best for me. They sent me to the best schools, the best camps. I came away from my education at Horseman Private School there were about 100 students in the class. As the student, I got the headmaster award with the best combination of prowess at athletics and academics. So there I was. I came out as a court jester. I came out, and some people come out as being gay. I came out in this way, this burgeoning, and I realized at that time that we are all buried within the landscapes of our bodies. And indeed, by freeing the physical tension, the next layer, the emotional release, which is what happened with me, with all that release work, then the gifts of creativity come from below. Physical, emotional, creative. So I developed a form of body therapy for 50 years where, while stretching the muscles, I was aware that I was releasing the physical tension, freeing the emotions, and then catapulting to a new self-talk. Fresh stories, new glories, we dance and sing. Yes, we are remembering. Yes, we are awakening. So I've begun to multi-sensorize everything over these years. And that coming out as a court jester in my early 30s was synchronous to moving to Hawaii and wearing the three-horned hat and walking around and performing at birthday parties and tapping into the living legends of that culture in jester character and portraying with the children in the schools, artists in the schools program, their legends authentically while I was wearing this face-painted, harlequin outfitted jester. That was a real significant time in my life when I shifted from the traditional upbringing to what did we do? Our son, the court jester, what did we do wrong? My parents were asking. But no, this I feel like I'm wearing a shaman hat or a pharaoh's, hat, and it kind of goes with this jacket. That's kind of anyway. I don't need to wear the hat anymore. It's old hat. Yet it's great to pack and travel with because it weighs nothing. So that's how I came out as a court jester. But the strangest things happen. I remember I was performing at the Colony Surf in Honolulu when I was in my early 30s there in Honolulu, and a woman approached me months later at some breakfast, or somehow she remembered me from that experience. Who's going to forget someone that looks outrageous in the character and face paint and all? She said, I have to tell you something. You did this silly little performance at this really exotic luxury restaurant at the edge of the ocean months ago, and it was so much fun. It actually brought me on a journey, and it lifted my sense of myself. I haven't been the same. It was such a transformative event in my life to feel that humor, bring me to places that I've been afraid to wake up to. So bless you, dear. You know, who would ever have known what role this would have had in impacting? But now I use it for presentation coaching to help people exaggerate their worst fears. Let me give you an example. When I first visiting Australia in the early 90s, I was the first human, the first speaker to be invited to the first national convention of the Australian Speakers Association. And there was a particular man in that event where I did this like workshop for the top speakers in that group, who said to me, please, I'm afraid in front of my peers of looking like a fool, because I can fool everybody, but my peers who are sitting in this room that I've developed a career over 40, 50 years, I can't fool you. And so I asked him to put on this jester's hat and kind of parade around, and he couldn't really do it. He took it off. He said, that's not really what's going on. It's not about being afraid to be a fool. It's that I'm afraid to tell you all how much I care and how much you've helped shape my life for all these decades. You mean so much to me. And then people came running up and said, we've never seen you so authentic and so real and so connecting and engaging with us in all our years. And he wrote me a letter about 2-3 months later. He said, I don't know how you did this, but in the shortest amount of time, I'm no longer afraid of being my authentic self on stage. By giving me permission to, is what I did. I gave him permission to let go of what he thought was the effort, and then out came the essence. He said, I am now so comfortable in all my breath. Like, oh my God. So this is a very focused strategy that I've been developing, as a healer, as a therapist, as a counselor, as a mentor, as a guide, and as a court jester. Greetings.
Such a message, because many people, like, I have a corporate background too, and I did the complete transition and turnaround, but we're taught fake it until you make it, right? We're use the facade. We're taught stand in the facade and act like you know it all. But what you're teaching and your message and your example is so important. And I'd really like you to spend a little bit of time there. I'd like you to spend a little time with this message that we're taught about faking it and the facade, and how, because I'll give you my take on it. Everyone can see through the facade. You may think that you're faking it, but everyone can see through the facade except you. So to me, it's more important that you're authentic and you just say, I don't know what I don't know.
I feel authentic, and I get a lot of feedback from people thanking them for showing a vulnerable, perfectly imperfect view of, I don't pretend to have all the answers, yet I do know that by these different rituals, I can assist anyone, including me, to come out of the fear of holding back, the being small. It is a simple multi-sensorizing of gesture to make pictures of what you're saying that, for me, authenticizes my verbal message. When I can make pictures of it, even now as I'm talking with you, I am in the zone and I feel integrous, authentic to my innermost core, by matching the physicality, the viscerality with the verbal, vocal, visual communication. Are you with me? Am I making sense?
Yeah, you absolutely are. I'm with you. I'm with you. So understanding that client is attracted to you. Who comes to you? Client is attracted to you. Who comes to you? What are the typical issues that a person is facing that hands down, you can help them address?
The ones we've been talking about. My specialty is freeing people from holding on to the familiar, because guess what? I've had to do this so many times in my life, moving New York, California, Hawaii, New Zealand, Australia, Bali, Thailand over 60 years, this westward migration, moving constantly from the known, familiar, traditional background to the unknown, over and over and over again. And by doing that, I've become a mentor who practices being more comfortable moving from the known to the unknown than holding on. I remember one time I was living in Hawaii and I was guiding a group of people on the top of one of the volcanic mountains to walk on the edges, Mauna Loa and Mauna Kea, the two volcanoes in Hawaii, in the Big Island. So I was walking with a group of people on this vision quest, and I was right on the edge. At that time, I was going by my court-jester name, Sharad La Charade, the court-jester, the storytelling court-jester. And the people on the other cliff over here, the other mountain, that was like a big abyss of thousands of meters below, shouted over to me, Sharad, you're near the edge. And I shouted back, no, I'm on the edge. I feel more comfortable here. You know, for me, it's you're either on the edge or you're taking up too much space. That's how I live my life.
I love it. I love it. So, take it a little bit deeper. We've talked about the physical things that need to take place. What is happening internally, spiritually? How are you talking to the hearts and energetically to these individuals that you're assisting? Because something has to shift.
Yeah,
And something energetically has
that's
to
right.
shift.
Yeah, I'm giving permission without having to say you now have permission. I'm so much fun that people guffaw into letting go of their most precious holding back. I remember, for example, I get images of things before I speak them. That's how I consciously know what to say next. There was a woman in 1995 who was coming to a number of my San Francisco things that adult education classes on speaking. And I had some retreats, and she came to every one of these as well. She was a lovely woman, and she had diabetes. She was a speaker. She would speak for the Diabetes Association. But I had no idea what was going to happen, which is what I'm about to tell you. And what happened was, at one point, she was saying, I just feel like I'm in a box and I can't get out. I said, okay, well, let's do that. So we pretended that she was in a box, whether it was me or different clothing or poor people holding her down. They held her down. Nobody likes being held down. So when she was having these four people hold her down like she was in a box, she just burst out of it like a lion out of a cage. And that moment of radicalizing, ritualizing her worst fear burst her into, when I moved to Australia, she took over my classes and now she's a wonderful speaking coach and she's traveling the world and she has many people come to follow her. And that moment of breaking free, that holding back, I'd say is the very thing that I do best, and helping people break into the unknown from what's familiar to something that's even more attractive. A boat in the harbor you can't discover any new lands. When you break it free from the known into the unknown, then it can discover all these things that it never could by holding on to the known. Hello.
Yeah, yeah. I love what you do. And one of the things that's so interesting to me also is that, like, when I speak, right, I have a hard time being pinned down to somebody's PowerPoint presentation anymore. Like, I had to do that.
I can relate. That's why I'm laughing.
And if I don't speak extemporaneously, then to me, I'm not taking in consideration the energy of the group that I'm about to address.
Yeah. Well, it's
Absolutely.
very interesting because, a lot of the conferences, some of which I've gone to and been a breakout speaker, keynote speaker, still seem to expect an agenda of what exactly you're going to speak on, and we want to know the script and what's the desired outcome. It's like, it's always the same for me, really. I have a mission to free everyone, including myself, from being bound in our own landscapes through freeing the physical tension, the emotional self-talk, holding that tension in place, and then out come the gifts of creative expression. That's my mission. That's what I do. I do it everywhere. But please don't ask me to define it more than that. I do, and I'm good at it. I remember in my mid-20s, I went to visit Swami Satchidananda with the long beard in New York City. And he said this about what I'm about to say. The English language is a very interesting language. When you have some word, something that is already fine, the English language wants to define it. Why name something or have to categorize? I just this category. It's like I do that and I'm good at it. Yet, frankly, it's when I can really connect with people live and that I can tap into those. You asked me at the beginning of this conversation. I see the conversations that are embedded in the body as though you're looking at a map of conversations. I see that. And then I know what conversations, particularly in rhyme, because I do it in rhyme, it's so much more fun to let go of it. So, for example, my shoulder drops away. Say that after me.
My shoulder drops.
Yeah, feel that while your body, imagine it being stretched here. More room for me to trust.
Trust.
What I feel, think, do, and say.
Feel, think, do, and say.
Hip, hip, hooray!
Hooray.
And then, that it sounds so silly, yet that little sillyism, that ridiculosity increases the velocity of whatever we just spoken being embedded in the cellular memory. You see, this is a scientific technique. I'm being silly on purpose.
Huh? I love it. I absolutely love it. And how do you get somebody to break that? To break the planning, to break the PowerPoint, to break I got to know exactly what I want to say and I have to rehearse it 10 times. How do you get them to go beyond that box? Because I've encountered that and I've actually refused to do collaboration work because I don't work that way anymore.
Well, I'd be happy to collaborate with you because I think this would be great fun. But that's something different. So when I am in that conversation with someone and they want to restrict me, what's the actual question?
No, the question is, how do you help a client who wants to be more free?
Okay.
How does get out of it?
So the client wants to be freed.
Yes.
And they're committed to it.
Yes.
I would do the same thing. I exaggerate the part that's not free first. I have them make it into a piece of ridiculosity. And if they can do that, it has the velocity to turn whatever they've been holding back onto this silly little game. They go, oh my God, I've been doing that. And then there's no need to hold on to it because they have this, they're laughing at their ridiculousms. And they can't even hold on to it anymore because it's so ridiculous that they see it by making fun of it. I literally, and it's a tool. It's a very specific art form. And then I have them do the opposite. 2 or 3 times. The biggest, smallest, and then the best of both, because one has energy and one has humility. And bringing that together, something beautiful happens, and then they can remember that, the verbal, vocal, visual elements that come into concert with one another. What are you hearing from my speaking? I'm curious what you're getting from my speaking in this way to you.
I love this because what you're teaching me is that the fun of it, the ridiculous and the making to get to the bottom of the origin of the issue and really wonderful, and I'm taking it away. Really.
Oh, there's something magical about the velocity of ridiculosity. I remember one time, it was 6 years ago, it was 2020, I was on a beach in Koh Phangan Island in Thailand. And there was a man that gave me a really powerful, like a rebirthing session in the water, a watsu, shiatsu and water shiatsu, and he was very, very good at it. And I wound up at the end of the session laying on the edge of the ocean. It was kind of gentle there. And I started to break out into laughter. I couldn't help it. And soon, the entire beach, everybody was laughing in this contagious joyfulness. And it was from someone that couldn't hold back. I wasn't acting. It was coming through. And, moments like those, when I can let go of control in that way, Then I
Yeah.
can share my deepest secrets with the soul. But first, I have to know that I can have such a good time that I can release my inhibitions, and then everything comes out. Wisdom waves through.
I love it. I absolutely love it. Talk to us a little bit. We're coming up on an hour, but I want to hear a little bit about your book before
This
we
book,
end. I want to hear about your book. Yes. Yes,
sure.
please.
Well, okay. Well, this is my book that I've written. Get up, stand up for your life. And you can
Mhm.
see someone leaping off a cliff and diving into the water. There's even the splash here. That's me. I never dove over that cliff in my life. Yet, something about trusting the unknown. Here we go again. I leapt from this cliff. I needed a cover for the book anyway. Get up, stand up for your life is this book. And it is my living legacy. It's a combination of tools that I've developed whimsically, artfully, craftfully over many years that combines transforming your relationship with your body,
Mhm.
transforming your relationship with your partnerships, transforming your relationship with your communication, transforming your relationship with your creativity, and
Uh-huh.
transforming your relationship with your giving back to humanity. So there are 5 different layers and levels of tools, rituals, exercises like the ones we've been sharing that I turned into this very whimsical book. A beautiful soul wrote the dedication on the back of it, and recognizing that I see myself as an archaeologist of the soul. And what that means is what I've been talking about here, that freeing the physical layer of tension, out comes the emotional self-talk. Emotions are released, the stored energy is released, once bound, now bound to release, and then the gifts of creative expression come burgeoning, bubbling, bursting, and bombastingly without holding back all the way through.
It's
So,
beautiful.
yeah, that's how I see it.
Beautiful, beautiful. Well, I don't want to end this, but I know that you have a set time frame, and I'm just so grateful for you to have spent this time with us and to share. How do you want to leave the audience in terms of the message that you have to give? Share with us what wisdom you would give that person who is embarking on a speaking career, who may think that the glass is already half full and they have everything that they need. We never can learn enough. I'm a lifelong learner. There's always something to learn. You never have everything 100%. So what would you say to that person who is already engaged, but they could embrace a little bit more to sharpen what their tool set is?
Okay. First, I realize I didn't finish talking about the book, which will lead me into this question. And what I forgot to say about the book is that Get Up, Stand Up for Your Life is available on Amazon and
Ah,
Audible. For anyone here that wants to receive
that's
that wisdom, it's available
yeah.
on the global platform. And the message to you who feel you've got it all happening and I don't need anything like that is a very simple one. It's an inside job. What I'm saying to you is so many speakers, and I've coached some of the best speakers in the world, some of the most highly paid speakers in the world, heads of national speakers associations in the USA and Australia, New Zealand. Like that man, Jack Hone, bless his soul, who his real fear was not about being silly, it was about being authentic, showing how much he cared. So, my message to you is simply this: to see underneath the performance, underneath the marketing, underneath how can I build my next book and bring more audience to me, to see in the realm of what matters the most. We are all being forced as humanity right now to look within and to see, to feel, to connect with. If we were to be a butterfly that cocoons out of this mess that we've all been part of creating together, what is the new story, fresh glory that you dance and sing? So how deeply you can, and for me it comes down to three key practices every day. Nurturing myself, inspiring myself, and empowering myself first. Then I'm much easier to be in my own skin, much more pleasant to be around, and I can share these fresh stories and new glories that touch your life. But I have to do it for myself first. So my message to you, the first words that I came out with in this life to my mom, no self. But it's not no self, it's yes self. To honor what matters and nurtures and empowers and inspires yourself to such a degree that then it's a sacred responsibility to share your wisdom, your truth, and message in the world, rather than you think you've got it all together. It comes from a much more deep, interior, deeply felt, authentic place. Do you hear me?
Yes, I do. Very much so.
Tell me
Yes.
what you hear. What do you hear as we close up here?
I hear that you have to look inward to know thyself, to really truly expand that which is within you before anyone can authentically take what you share outwardly.
Yeah.
So, yes, I get it. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful message.
I get
Beautiful.
that you get it. It's lovely to feel seen, heard, and shall I say, even more so, authenticized by you with you. I see you too. And here it's 22:22. Look at the time from here.
Love it. One of the things you to take the time to do before we finish up is that I want you to share the services that people can,
Sure. Okay. Yeah, we can do that. One thing you can do, and you will have these notes in the chat in the what's called the offerings to reach me more deeply. I'm happy to take you on a journey, 20 minutes, half an hour, to guide you through these different exercises. The three keyword self-talk exercise, navigating through the screen so you're authentic and fully visceralizing your message, so you're showing what you're telling through my tidycal.com app. It's a TIDY, like you're tidying a calendar. Tidy, TIDYCAL. Yep. .com. And then we're doing a / and Dr. Gary, Gary, Wohlman, the way it's spelled, WOHLMAN. That's one way. Another way is you can just go to my website, which is really easy and has everything in it. Keynote phrases, how do you reach me on the TidyCal app. You can remember this. Ready? Here we go. It's always engaging for me. It's my presentation doctor, all spelled out, .com. Got it? My presentation doctor.com. That opens to everything. You'll find me
yeah.
there.
Thank you so much. And do you have any last words?
Yeah,
Any?
I also have a YouTube channel, and I would really like for you to subscribe, and you'll see a lot of this content, presentation breakthroughs, this podcast, performance art, a lot of deep dives with fellow souls like you, whether you're a top speaker or someone that's coming out to trust your voice, your message, and your wisdom in the world. So much content there. That's also in the printed area below. We'll have many more ways we can stay in touch. Lovely to meet you in this way. Thank you so much for receiving this divine sacred play.
Thank you. So everything to my speaker and to my audience, everything that you heard from Dr. Gary will be down in our description box so that you can be able to engage him. And I just want to say thank you again for being here, sharing your stories, sharing your beautiful energy and the laughter and the love that you have coming authentically from your heart. It's been such a pleasure to speak with you. And for those of you who know that somebody needs to hear this message, please do share this episode, and please subscribe to the podcast.
Bring in the new.
And share with the existing. And so, leave you. This has been another episode of The Infinite Way, where spirituality meets humanity. And we'll see you next time. Thank you again.
Mwah.
Take care for now.
Yes, yes.